When I talk about human potential, I have to be honest and say that I use epic words. I talk about greatness, genius, living your most heroic life, and it can almost seem too big. In fact, recently someone said to me, "I just don't think that there is greatness within me." And I think that's a really honest assessment. Even people who accomplish great things will oftentimes say, well, there isn't any genius in them. They just work hard. Or what distinguishes a person who has talent from a person who is great? Because you can see an endless number of people in professional sports who have incredible talent, but only a few that you would actually call great. But what about us? What about the rest of us? What about the everyday person? And behind me, I have one of my comic books, and it's about secret origins, and the origins of Batman and Superman and Flash. And I love origin stories because usually in the origin story, it takes you right back to the commonality of that character, their humanity or their struggle, their conflict, that place where they felt uncertain of themselves and they didn't feel that they would ever accomplish anything meaningful. And any real hero, any great hero, always has a crisis of faith, always wonders if they're good enough, always wonders if they can rise up to the challenge. And one of the things that really struck me is, I don't know if I've ever had a time in my life, especially when I was growing up and even in my 20s and 30s, where I would say to myself, I think I have something great inside of me. I think that mostly what I felt was a huge responsibility to do something that matters in the world. And I find sometimes there's this combination. It's like do good and live a meaningful life. That oftentimes the people who aspire to be great, or the people who aspire to be famous, or the people who aspire to be geniuses or to be heroes, they're actually the villain without realizing it, because it's all about them. It's all about how other people will see them. The actual hero in the story, the actual character who achieves a level of greatness, or the one who expresses some kind of genius, they're the one who feels that they're serving something else. They achieve greatness because they're serving a greater good, or they achieve genius because they're serving a greater good. And they're not thinking about being a genius. They're thinking about solving this problem. They're not thinking about being a hero. They're thinking about saving people they love. They're not thinking about being great. They're just thinking about someone needs to get the job done. And so ironically, even though I really want you to believe that there's greatness inside of you, I want you to believe that there is unique genius inside of you, I want you to believe that there's a hero inside of you waiting to be awakened, that's not what I want you to focus on. Because if you focus on those things, you're going to become the antihero. You need to focus your life on serving others, doing good, and living a meaningful life. And ironically, when you think about yourself less and you think about others more, when you think less about your legacy and your legend and your story and your place in history, and think more about the need that needs to be taken care of, or the problem that needs to be solved, or the people who need to be helped, or the service that you can bring to the world, that's when you actually begin to live out your heroic story. That's when you actually begin to live out your greatness. That's when you begin to live out your genius, when your life is about others and not about yourself. In some very counterintuitive way, the real hero is the one who doesn't know they are. The real genius is the one who thinks they're ordinary and common like everyone else, or just trying to solve a problem. The person who achieves greatness, they're the one who thinks others are more talented, so they better work 10 times as hard because they don't have the level of talent that they have. So they have to make up for the difference if they're ever going to achieve greatness. Maybe that's a part of the unique formula, is that when there's something inside of you that decides your life isn't about you, it's about others, that's when the story of your life gets written by others. And they're the ones who say, oh, wow, they achieved greatness. There's genius in them. They were a hero. I probably shouldn't say this, but the other day I was watching these clips of these different NBA basketball players, and they showed one clip of someone on the Warriors team dunking a ball, and Steph Curry running up and down the sideline, just cheering on this dunk. And that was the That was the meme of Steph Curry's greatness. And then I watched within seconds one of LeBron James. And in that one, LeBron James hits a three-point shot and walks down and puts a crown on his head and puts a crown on his head and puts a crown on his head, declaring that he's the king. And in my mind, what I thought instantly was, there's the difference. One of them, who is a generational player, I think, Steph Curry, he is celebrated by celebrating others. And LeBron, who is also a generational player, he's celebrated by celebrating himself. Now, they both will achieve extraordinary things in their lifetime. So you can't discount that there are different ways to achieve extraordinary things. The question is, do you want to live your life putting a crown on yourself? Or do you want to live your life breaking the chains off of others? I think it's less important to decide how you want to be seen than how you want to live your life and how you see others. So then I'm watching the fourth quarter of the Lakers against the Wolves, and LeBron drives and does his LeBron James kind of thing, drives in, makes this incredible pass to the corner to Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder, with just seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, nails a three-pointer to take the lead. And the commentator says something like, "And the king with his court gestures." And in that moment, I thought, this is the problem when you put the focus on yourself. It's not that LeBron said that, but that is essentially the story that's being written. If you're the king, everyone else is simply your subjects. And maybe even worse, they're all the jesters that are just there for your entertainment. The key to greatness is not what you accomplish. The key to greatness is how the world around you changes for the better.